We live in a world that prides itself on freedom. The idea that we, as individuals, have the autonomy to choose how we live, what we consume, and who we become is woven into the very fabric of modern existence. The relentless pursuit of freedom is often seen as the highest ideal, the beacon that guides nations, societies, and individuals alike. But what if this so-called freedom is nothing more than an illusion? What if, in our pursuit of autonomy, we've unknowingly become slaves to something far more insidious? To understand this, we must look back to a man who foresaw the very society we live in today, Aldous Huxley. In 1932, Huxley published Brave New World, a vision of the future where society is no longer ruled by fear, oppression, or force. No, the true chains that bind the citizens of this dystopia are far subtler. They are chains of pleasure. Huxley's world is one where individuals live in constant pleasure. But it's not the freedom to choose their pleasures that truly matters. It's that they have become so conditioned to crave these pleasures that their desires, not their intellect, guide their lives. They are free, in a sense, but they are free within a system designed to make them want what they are given, endlessly and without question. This brings us to a question that many of us have never truly asked ourselves. Is this not the world we inhabit today? Our modern world is a paradox. On the surface, we are granted unprecedented levels of choice. We can shop online, switch between streaming platforms, change our careers, or even choose our sexual identities. Yet, beneath this veneer of freedom, we find ourselves trapped in an endless cycle of consumerism, entertainment, and instant gratification. Are we really free, or have we become slaves to our own desires? As we go through our daily routines, scrolling endlessly through social media, purchasing things we don't need, and consuming content that promises pleasure but leaves us empty, we might wonder, is there something deeper at play? A force that is controlling us not with physical chains, but with something much more subtle, yet just as powerful, our craving for pleasure. In the next part of this script, we'll explore how Huxley's vision of a world ruled by pleasure has become our reality, and how society's greatest tool for control is not oppression, but the very thing we seek most: comfort, entertainment, and indulgence. Pleasure has always been a powerful force in human history. From the ancient civilizations to modern-day consumer culture, the pursuit of pleasure has been at the heart of how societies are shaped, manipulated, and controlled. But it's not just about indulgence for indulgence's sake. The rise of hedonism is intrinsically tied to the rise of power, because those who control pleasure control the people. In ancient Rome, the emperors understood this well. The phrase bread and circuses comes from the Roman poet Juvenal, who critiqued the empire's method of pacifying its citizens, offering free grain and extravagant entertainment to keep them distracted and docile. It was a form of control. By providing the masses with immediate, tangible pleasures, the rulers could maintain their power without the need for force or violence. Rome's games, its feasts, its gladiatorial battles. These were spectacles designed to ensure the population remained loyal to the empire. They didn't need to know about the real struggles of power, the machinations behind the scenes, or the societal injustices. As long as they were entertained and well-fed, they remained obedient. This was the first real example of a pleasure-based control system, one that would set the stage for centuries of similar practices. Fast forward to the modern world, and this same principle persists, but with a new, far more sophisticated twist. The tools of control are no longer confined to grand spectacles and physical indulgences. Today, they are embedded in the very structure of our lives. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded by advertisements, media, and technologies designed to stimulate our desires. Every notification on our phones, every click on a shopping site, every episode we binge watch, all serve the same purpose: to keep us hooked, to feed our cravings, to keep us on the hamster wheel of consumption. The rise of consumer capitalism in the 20th century introduced a new form of hedonism, one rooted in the idea that happiness could be bought. Advertisements, fueled by psychological research, perfected the art of creating desire. The notion that true fulfillment comes through consumption, that buying the latest product, wearing the trendiest clothes, or owning the newest technology will bring us joy, became pervasive. And it worked. The more we consumed, the more we needed. The more we chased after fleeting moments of pleasure, the more we became enslaved to them. The cycle of consumption and desire became endless. Hedonism, once confined to the ruling elite in societies like ancient Rome, now became the aspiration of the masses. But here's the kicker. This type of pleasure isn't just about satisfying a need. It's about perpetuating a system that thrives on keeping us always wanting more, never quite reaching contentment. Because as long as we're always chasing the next high, the next fix, the next fleeting pleasure, we are distracted. We're too occupied with consumption to question the structures of power that benefit from this cycle. We are kept in a state of passive, constant yearning, where true freedom feels like an impossible, distant dream. This system was precisely what Huxley warned about. In Brave New World, he depicted a society where happiness was mass-produced and guaranteed, but it was a shallow, synthetic happiness, one that numbed the people to their deeper desires for meaning and authenticity. The pleasures they experienced were engineered, not organic. They were distractions, not fulfilling pursuits. In the next section, we will explore the psychology of pleasure and desire, how the brain is wired to seek out these fleeting joys, and how modern systems exploit these instincts to keep us trapped in a never-ending cycle of consumption. At the core of our modern struggle lies a psychological truth. Our brains are wired to crave pleasure, and we are hardwired to seek it out in the easiest and quickest way possible. This instinctual drive is a product of evolution, a survival mechanism that once ensured our ancestors would seek out food, warmth, and safety in times of need. But in today's world, where these basic survival needs are mostly met, this primal impulse has been weaponized. The systems that govern our lives now exploit our deepest desires, creating a landscape where instant gratification reigns supreme. The concept of instant gratification is built into the very fabric of our daily lives. Every time we scroll through social media, check our phones, or binge watch our favorite shows, we're feeding our brains craving for quick rewards. This is not accidental. It's by design. Psychologists and behavioral scientists have long understood that pleasure triggers the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in our feelings of happiness and reward. Dopamine, often referred to as the feel-good chemical, is released when we engage in pleasurable activities like eating, exercising, or achieving a goal. However, the more we seek out pleasure, the more our brain craves it. And this creates a feedback loop. The more dopamine we get, the more we want. This natural cycle works well in moderation. It's why we're motivated to pursue goals, form relationships, and maintain healthy habits. But here's the catch. Modern systems of pleasure are not about achieving meaningful goals. They are about creating a constant, low-effort source of dopamine, a never-ending stream of instant rewards that our brains cannot resist. From scrolling through Instagram to checking our email inboxes, to the unceasing bombardment of notifications, we are surrounded by an environment tailored to keep us hooked. The reward is immediate. A new post from a friend, an alert that we've received a like, the thrill of watching just one more episode. It's all designed to hit our dopamine receptors and make us feel good in the short term. And for a while it works. But the problem with instant gratification is that it's inherently unsatisfying. The pleasure we get from these quick hits is fleeting, and over time, we begin to crave more of them to feel the same level of satisfaction. Like a drug addict, we are constantly chasing the next high, never able to truly settle or feel content. This is the trap of modern life. It promises us pleasure, but it leaves us emptier than before. This cycle leads to something deeper, something more insidious. The more we succumb to instant gratification, the less capable we become of long-term fulfillment. The pursuit of meaningful goals, the cultivation of deep relationships, and the commitment to personal growth all require patience and perseverance. virtues that are diametrically opposed to the world of instant rewards. We begin to lose the ability to delay gratification, to find satisfaction in delayed or hard-earned rewards. Instead, we are conditioned to expect immediate pleasure and instant results. And when those expectations aren't met, we become restless, anxious, and dissatisfied. This is where the true damage lies. It's not just that we're more distracted than ever before. It's that we're losing the ability to engage with life in any meaningful way. We've become so accustomed to a world of immediate pleasures that we've forgotten what it means to struggle, to sacrifice, to work towards something over time. And in this process, we lose the capacity for genuine joy. In Huxley's Brave New World, the people are given a drug called soma, a substance that provides instant relief from any discomfort or pain. It is a symbol of the society's obsession with avoiding unpleasant emotions at all costs. But the trade-off is profound. By numbing themselves to discomfort, they numb themselves to the full spectrum of human experience. Pleasure becomes a passive consumption, a form of escape, not something earned or deeply felt. It's a synthetic joy, devoid of depth, and ultimately, it's unsustainable. This phenomenon isn't just fictional. In the real world, companies, tech giants, and advertisers exploit our craving for instant gratification. Every notification, every like, every click on a new product is an engineered response designed to keep us in a state of perpetual desire. And as we chase after these fleeting joys, we find ourselves disconnected from more meaningful pursuits. But why does this matter? Because in the pursuit of instant gratification, we are relinquishing our capacity for long-term satisfaction. The pleasures we seek now don't just make us feel empty. They create a void, an insatiable need that only deepens as we try to fill it. This psychological manipulation is what keeps us tethered to the system, a system that profits off our never-ending desire for more, while offering us less in return. In the next section, we'll explore the consequences of this trap, how the desire for constant pleasure creates a new form of slavery, one that binds us not through physical force, but through our own unchecked desires. We often hear the word freedom in discussions about society, but when we look deeper, what does freedom really mean in the context of our modern world? We live in an age of unparalleled comfort. Food is abundant, technology connects us to the world instantly, and entertainment is available on demand. But, ironically, it is this very comfort that has shackled us. The illusion of freedom, built on the ease of living, has actually created a new form of slavery. In Huxley's Brave New World, society is not ruled by physical oppression, nor is it governed by fear. Instead, the people are kept in line by a steady stream of pleasures and comforts that distract them from questioning the world around them. It's a world where personal freedoms exist, but only within a framework of constant, mindless consumption. The people in this dystopia are free to do as they please, but their desires, and thus their choices, are controlled. They don't even know they're enslaved. In many ways, our lives today mirror Huxley's vision. We have all the material comforts one could ask for, but these comforts come at a price. We are tied to systems designed to keep us dependent, distracted, and numb. We no longer have to fight for survival, but we are constantly fighting for the next hit of pleasure. We are free to shop, watch, consume, and engage at will, but in reality, this freedom has led to our enslavement by desire. Take, for instance, the global consumer's machine. The ease with which we can purchase anything, from food delivered to our doorsteps to the latest tech gadgets, has made us prisoners of convenience. What was once a luxury has now become a necessity, not because we genuinely need it, but because we've been conditioned to believe that comfort is an entitlement. Convenience and instant access to pleasure have become so deeply embedded in our daily lives that we can no longer imagine living without them. And yet, as these conveniences compound, they also create a deeper dependency on the very systems that provide them. Look at how we consume media today. We binge-watch shows without pause, each episode leading seamlessly into the next, all designed to provide immediate satisfaction. Our engagement with social media is similarly instant. Every like, every comment, every notification providing an immediate dopamine hit. It feels good in the moment, but the satisfaction is fleeting. And when it's over, we go back for more, chasing the same feeling. But perhaps the most insidious aspect of this modern slavery is that we don't even realize we're trapped. We've been taught to value comfort above all else. Comfort in our material possessions, comfort in our entertainment, comfort in our routines. We live in a world where discomfort is to be avoided at all costs. As a result, the mere suggestion of self-discipline, sacrifice, or hard work can seem outdated, even unbearable. We've created a system where pleasure is the solution to every problem. And in doing so, we've stripped ourselves of the ability to tolerate anything that requires patience, effort, or discomfort. This is the paradox. We are offered freedom in the form of comfort and pleasure, but in exchange, we lose the very essence of what it means to be free. We become enslaved by our own desires. The more we consume, the more we need. The more we indulge, the less satisfaction we derive from each experience. We've traded true freedom, the freedom to choose, to think, to grow, for the comfort of constant pleasure. This modern slavery doesn't just impact our individual lives, it shapes society as a whole. Power structures have evolved, and now they thrive not on military might or strict legislation, but on our dependence on comfort and pleasure. Governments, corporations, and tech companies understand this dynamic well. They know that if they can keep us satisfied with short-term pleasures, we won't question the systems that have been built around us. We won't challenge the inequalities, the power structures, or the manipulations that exist in our world because we are too busy chasing the next pleasure. In Huxley's dystopia, the citizens of the world state were kept in line not by force, but by the carefully calibrated balance of pleasure and distraction. They were conditioned to view discomfort as unnatural, something to be avoided at all costs. In much the same way, we have come to view discomfort, whether it's the challenge of long-term effort or the discomfort of questioning societal norms, as a threat to our well-being. We avoid the pain of self-discipline, the discomfort of hard work, and the struggle of intellectual and emotional growth in favor of the shallow rewards of instant gratification. This is the true cost of comfort. It makes us blind to our own enslavement. We become so accustomed to immediate rewards that we lose the ability to strive for something deeper, something more meaningful. And as we settle into this comfortable existence, we become complicit in a system that thrives on our passivity, our consumption, and our craving for more. In the next section, we'll explore how technology has accelerated this process, creating a world where pleasure is always just a click away, making it harder and harder to break free from the chains we've willingly accepted. In a not-so-distant past, the pursuit of pleasure was something you had to actively seek out. You'd go to a theater to watch a film, visit a store to buy a book, or make the effort to find a source of entertainment that would offer you some brief respite from the daily grind. But that world has been left behind. Today, pleasure is no longer something we chase. It's delivered to us on demand at the touch of a button. Technology has transformed the very nature of pleasure. What once required effort, time, and intention now comes instantly, without friction, without waiting. It's an endless buffet of stimuli, carefully curated to hook us, engage us, and ultimately enslave us. And it's not by accident. The rise of smartphones, streaming platforms, and social media has created a world where pleasure is always within arm's reach. You can watch your favorite show, check your friends' updates, shop, listen to music, or even have an entire conversation with someone thousands of miles away, all in a matter of seconds. The experience is seamless, frictionless, and addictive. There's no longer any need for patience, no need for anticipation. The world is built to satisfy your desires the moment they arise. Streaming services like Netflix, for example, have turned watching television into an entirely different experience. No longer do we have to wait for weekly episodes or make time for a set schedule. Now we can consume entire seasons in one sitting. The result? A quick hit of dopamine with each new episode, followed by an insatiable need for more. The next episode automatically starts, erasing any pause for thought, pushing us deeper into the loop of instant gratification. The entertainment is endless, and so is the desire to consume it. The same is true for social media. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are designed with one goal in mind: to keep us scrolling. These platforms don't just rely on our curiosity. They exploit our brain's natural craving for novelty and social validation. With every post we scroll through, with every like we get, our brains are flooded with dopamine. It's a system that has been engineered to create dependency, a system that constantly feeds us small doses of pleasure and recognition, keeping us coming back for more. But it's not just our entertainment and social interactions that are made easier. Technology has also brought us the convenience of shopping, or what some call retail therapy. We can now buy anything, at any time, from anywhere, with the click of a button. Apps are designed to create a sense of urgency, offering limited-time discounts or enticing notifications to prompt immediate purchases. The satisfaction of owning something new, even something we don't really need, gives us a fleeting sense of happiness, but it's never enough. Soon, we're right back to searching for the next thing, the next fix, the next pleasure. Even our work is increasingly mediated by technology. Emails, messages, and tasks are pushed to us constantly, ensuring that we remain plugged into the systems of productivity and consumption. The line between work and leisure has blurred, and with it, the opportunity for meaningful rest. We are always connected, always on the go, always seeking something, whether it's a moment of relaxation, a new distraction, or a feeling of accomplishment. In a world where pleasure is delivered instantaneously, the very concept of delayed gratification is becoming foreign. The technology we embrace has not only redefined the way we experience pleasure, but it has made the concept of earning pleasure, of waiting, of working towards something, increasingly irrelevant. What's the point of enduring discomfort when a world of pleasure is at your fingertips? But it's not just about entertainment or shopping. Technology has begun to alter our very relationship with our own consciousness. Virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, offer immersive experiences that can simulate worlds more compelling than the reality we know. In the future, it may not just be about consuming pleasurable content. It could be about living in a fantasy of perpetual bliss, escaping the pains of the real world entirely. It's a seductive promise, one that many will find hard to resist. In Huxley's Brave New World, soma was the drug that kept people from facing unpleasant truths, a substance that numbed the mind and soul, offering a false sense of contentment. Today, we don't need a pill to numb our pain. We have technology. With every notification, every new device, every app update, we are offered a form of soma, a digital escape, an easy fix, a world tailored to make us feel good, to take away the sting of real life. And, much like soma, the pleasure we derive from these technologies is ultimately hollow. It might feel good in the moment, but it's not real fulfillment. It's a distraction, a way to avoid confronting the deeper questions, the existential discomforts that come with being human. We distract ourselves with a world of pleasure on demand because facing the complexity of our existence feels overwhelming, uncomfortable, or even unbearable. This constant delivery of pleasure is making us less able to tolerate the natural ebbs and flows of life. The moments of discomfort, the periods of waiting, the patience required to build something meaningful. We are becoming a generation of people who expect immediate rewards for everything. And when we don't get them, we feel frustrated, lost, or even depressed. In the next section, we'll explore how all of this, our addiction to convenience, our dependence on technology, and our craving for immediate pleasure, has led to a new form of modern slavery. This is the price we pay for comfort. The loss of our ability to truly live, to think critically, and to find meaning beyond fleeting pleasures. In a world dominated by instant gratification, where comfort and pleasure are the highest commodities, it may seem impossible to escape. The systems that perpetuate our desires are ingrained in every aspect of our lives, from the entertainment we consume to the way we interact with one another. But despite the deep grip that pleasure has on us, there's a way out, a path that leads beyond the hollow pursuits of instant gratification to something deeper, something more meaningful. This path, however, isn't easy. To break free from the pleasure trap requires a radical shift in how we approach life, a willingness to confront the discomfort we've spent so long avoiding. It's about choosing discomfort, discipline, and long-term fulfillment over the fleeting joys of immediate pleasure. But this is the key to true freedom, to take back control over our desires rather than allowing them to control us. The first step in this process is acknowledging the trap. Awareness is a powerful weapon. The fact that we are often unaware of the psychological mechanisms at play is what makes them so dangerous. We don't realize that every time we scroll through our phones or binge watch an entire season of show, we are playing into a system that has been carefully designed to exploit our natural impulses. We don't see how much of our time and energy is drained by this constant cycle of seeking pleasure, and as a result, we never question it. But the first step toward escaping the trap is simple: become aware of it. Once we recognize the trap, we can begin to challenge it. This requires building a new relationship with pleasure. Instead of seeing it as the ultimate goal, we must learn to place it in context, to understand it as one part of a larger, richer human experience. Pleasure, in and of itself, is not bad. It is an essential aspect of life. But when it becomes the sole pursuit, when it is elevated to the highest ideal, it leads us astray. In his later work, Island, Aldous Huxley presented a vision of a society that understood this balance. Unlike the dystopia of Brave New World, the people on the island embraced pleasure, but they did so in a way that was mindful, intentional, and integrated with their deeper values. They didn't rely on technology or mindless distractions to numb their pain. Instead, they cultivated a life of self-awareness, creativity, and spiritual fulfillment. This, Huxley suggested, was the antidote to the hollow pleasures of modern life. To escape the pleasure trap, we must adopt a similar approach. We must learn to delay gratification, not as a form of punishment, but as a way to reconnect with what truly matters. This doesn't mean rejecting pleasure altogether, but it does mean that we learn to prioritize the long term, the meaningful over the short term, the fleeting. It's about investing in experiences and goals that bring us true satisfaction, even if they require effort, time, and sacrifice. The process of delaying gratification can be difficult, especially in a society that constantly pushes us toward the quick fix. But it's through this discomfort that we build resilience, character, and self-control. When we learn to tolerate discomfort, we free ourselves from the need for constant external validation. We become less dependent on the pleasure that comes from external sources and more connected to the internal sense of fulfillment that comes from living according to our deepest values. This shift also requires rethinking our relationship with technology. The devices and platforms that once served as tools for productivity and connection have now become instruments of distraction and manipulation. To escape the pleasure trap, we must regain control over our relationship with these technologies. This might mean setting boundaries, turning off notifications, limiting screen time, and intentionally choosing when and how we engage with the digital world. By doing so, we create space for deeper engagement with ourselves and with the world around us, rather than letting technology dictate our every moment. Moreover, true freedom comes from the pursuit of meaning, not just pleasure. We must seek out what gives our lives purpose, whether that's through personal growth, relationships, creative expression, or contributing to something larger than ourselves. When we invest our energy in meaningful pursuits, we experience a deeper kind of fulfillment, one that lasts far longer than the transient satisfaction of a new gadget or a viral video. This deeper fulfillment doesn't come from external pleasure, it comes from within. A key part of this awakening is developing a deeper understanding of ourselves. Self-awareness is the foundation of true freedom. When we become attuned to our desires, we can see them for what they are, not as commands we must obey, but as signals that point us toward what we truly need. Instead of reacting mindlessly to the next pleasurable distraction, we can choose how to respond, whether it's indulging in the moment or stepping back to reflect on what will truly serve our well-being in the long run. To break free from the pleasure trap, we must also cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to become aware of our impulses, desires, and reactions without becoming enslaved by them. It teaches us to experience the present moment fully, without needing to escape it through constant stimulation. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to savor pleasure when it comes, without allowing it to dominate our lives. We can also sit with discomfort, knowing that it is a natural part of the human experience, and that it often holds the key to growth and transformation. Ultimately, escaping the pleasure trap is about reclaiming our autonomy. It's about choosing to live consciously, to engage with life in a way that reflects our true values and aspirations, rather than being controlled by the distractions and pleasures that modern society offers. It's about realizing that we are not helpless in the face of desire. We have the power to shape our lives, to choose what we pursue, and to determine the kind of people we want to become. The journey may not be easy, but it is necessary. For only by breaking free from the seductive pull of pleasure and embracing a life of greater purpose can we truly reclaim our freedom. As we reach the end of this journey, we must pause and reflect on the central question: what is the true price of pleasure? Throughout this exploration, we've seen how pleasure, once a source of joy and connection, has become a tool of manipulation and control. We've delved into how our cravings for instant gratification and comfort have led us into a subtle form of slavery. A slavery to our desires, to systems that profit off our distractions, and to the hollow promise of happiness that pleasure alone can never fulfill. Pleasure, in its purest form, is not the enemy. It is a natural part of the human experience. But when we let it consume us, when we place it at the center of our lives and allow it to dictate our actions, it becomes a prison. And it is in this prison that we lose sight of what it truly means to be free. The freedom that many of us long for, the freedom to live authentically, to pursue our dreams, to connect deeply with others, cannot be found in the pursuit of pleasure alone. It is found in the ability to choose, to delay gratification, and to find satisfaction in the journey rather than the destination. It is found in the willingness to embrace discomfort, to sit with the complexities of life, and to grow in ways that cannot be measured by external rewards. So, as we move forward, we must ask ourselves, are we truly free? Or have we, like the citizens of Huxley's Brave New World, traded our freedom for a more comfortable, more convenient existence? Are we content with the shallow pleasures of the moment? Or are we willing to confront the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface? The pursuit of pleasure is not inherently wrong, but when it becomes our only pursuit, it leads us down a dangerous path. It is time for an awakening, a reimagining of what it means to live fully. True freedom comes not from the endless chase for more pleasure, but from the courage to step back, reflect, and choose a life that aligns with our deepest values and aspirations. It's about embracing the fullness of life, with all its discomforts and joys, and finding meaning that goes beyond fleeting moments of happiness. In the end, the choice is ours. Will we continue to be slaves to our desires, or will we reclaim our autonomy, our purpose, and our true freedom? The answer lies not in the pursuit of pleasure, but in the wisdom to recognize when pleasure is no longer serving us, and the courage to let go.